Move the stick out the way. I was speaking. I don't think he heard me. How you doing?
How are you?
America's Disabled Veterans in Action.
Oh, okay. How do we get a...
How are you?
I'm fine. Good to meet you. I'm sorry. I work with her. But when you said Military Times, we carry a lot of your features on our webpage.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, they're always asking us for a subscription, and I know that we can get a copy as media.
Yeah.
So what I was hoping is you could direct me on how I could set that up, because every time I've tried to call...
I'm not sure, but I can get you to the right people. So send me an email.
Okay.
Let me give you my card, and I can see some other editors who can give you some idea.
Okay.
I will be perfectly frank with you. It took them 3 days to get me a login, and I work for them. And I screamed, I can't put links on my own stories.
We've only been on the air like 3 years. This is our 3rd year. But we get a lot of stuff from you.
Yeah.
And it helps because it helps us to get to the veterans. We're getting to like 250,000 people a week.
What's that?
Puerto Rico?
No, it's
P-E-Q-U-R-T-O.
No worries.
Hearing between the House and the Senate. We will appreciate hearing the legislative priorities of the American veterans. In the time and keeping the tradition of these joint hearings, after my opening remarks, I recognize Chairman Isaacson, Ranking Member Brown, Ranking Member Blumenthal, and that Ms. Brown is not here. Mr. Cotto is ready to enter an opening statement. And then I would ask all of the committee members, if they would, to waive their opening statements, and with no objection, so ordered. I'd like to give a welcome to DAV Commander Moses McIntosh, Jr. Commander McIntosh is a service-connected Desert Shield and Desert Storm
And Puerto Rico.
U.S. Air Force and the United States Army. Following his medical retirement from the U.S. Army at the rank of Chief Warrant Officer in 1997, Commander McIntosh dedicated his life to his family and serving his fellow disabled veterans. So thank you, sir, for your many years of service in and out of uniform, and for being here today. And I also want to acknowledge Linda Stakes, the commander of the DAV Auxiliary. Thank you for being here and representing all of the unpublicized work that the DAV Auxiliary does every single day to meet the goals that DAV has set. And I would think that they probably have not met those goals without your assistance. Finally, I want to welcome all of the DAV members out here from my home state of Florida. If you would stand or wave, we'd love to see you. Hey, everybody. It continues to be challenging for the veterans and the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I thank the DAV members from across the country for supporting our efforts and for being a tremendous voice for America's veterans. Your professional and responsive DC staff does a great job, and they share your message and priorities with each of us on a regular basis. They let us know what they hear from you about what is really happening on the front lines at VA facilities across this great land. Without your input, we would not be able to do our jobs, nor would we be able to improve benefits to veterans and continue our efforts to help the Secretary McDonald, to transform the Department of Veterans Affairs into the department that you all deserve. With your help, Commander, we are going to continue to praise and advocate for VA when they deserve it. And we're also going to continue to meet our constitutional responsibilities to provide proper oversight and challenge the Secretary when the Department falls short of what our veterans deserve. As the former VA Administrator, General Omar Bradley, once said, "They're dealing with veterans, not procedures. They're their problems, not ours." We must force VA to indoctrinate this sentiment into their culture and provide world-class services to America's veterans. I know we can all agree that veterans and their families deserve nothing less. First among our oversight priorities will be the continued Choice Program and review of the Secretary's plan for consolidating care in each of your communities. As I have always said, community VA paid-based care is an increasingly important access point for veterans across the country. It is designed to supplement, not to supplant, care that is provided at VA medical facilities. The challenge that we have as we go forward is to strike the proper balance provided at VA facilities and care provided in the community so that we can ensure that veterans are able to access their services they need in a timely manner.
We've also got to recognize that community providers as partners are important in providing high-quality care to veterans, patients, and as such, we must ensure that VA promptly pays for the services that they provide. While we all know the implementation of the Choice Program has not been as smooth as we would have liked it to have been, it's important to note that Congress and the VA continue to work with service organizations like the DAV to identify and quickly address problems in the current Choice Program. We have got to ensure that the future community care consolidation incorporates the right lessons, those lessons that have been learned and is set up for success.
Importantly, we will continue to rely on valuable input that the DAV leaders and members from across this country provide as we move forward in those efforts and fronts to veterans. Another focus that we will continue to focus on is the backlog of disability claims. While it is worth noting the great work that VA has done in reducing the claims backlog, there's still more work that needs to be done. Unfortunately, as many in this room can attest, we have to take VA's numbers with a grain of salt. We know that while the backlog of claims has been reduced, this has actually come at the expense of production on appeals, non-rating work, and vocational rehabilitation education claims. Commander, I know you share my concern about how important all VA claims can be to veterans, and we won't be satisfied until all of the backlog has been eliminated. VA continues to be given generous increases in resources year after year, and now is the time for them to stop focusing on rushed and incomplete production and to instead focus on the quality that you deserve. I know that DAV has argued for years that VBA's culture and processes must change to ensure employees are adjudicating disability claims properly the first time. Their inability to complete claims right on the first attempt is setting up what some are calling a tsunami of appeals that is about to hit the department. I want to collaborate with DAV and VA to combine our ideas in order to bring about meaningful reform to the appeals system. The final issue I want to touch on is improving accountability at the department. All of the policy goals that you are going to highlight, Commander, cannot be accomplished if good employees are forced to continue to work with employees that don't share in the mission of service. The VA's employees are great workers who put veterans first, but for that small minority of employees that don't, the Secretary has to have the tools he needs to properly hold them accountable for their actions. That's why the VA Accountability Act is critically important for VA success, and I welcome your support in our efforts. Again, I appreciate you all for being here today, and this time I recognize Chairman Hudson for his opening comments.
Well, thank you, Chairman Miller. It's a delight to be here today, and welcome to Disabled American Veterans and the Auxiliary. We appreciate you coming to Washington. We're honored for your service, and we realize we sit here today in the Congress of the United States representing the people of the United States because of the battles you fought and the battles you won, and we're grateful to all of you for your service to our country. Your continuing service to our country as an advocate for disabled American veterans and for all veterans. No, there are no Democratic veterans and no Republican veterans, only American veterans. This is going to be the year that in a bipartisan fashion, the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and I'm sure the House Veterans Affairs gets down to the hard job of reforming the VA in the right way, for the right reasons, for the veterans of America. As I did this morning and have done for the last month and a half, every time I can get an audience with people on the committee or people interested, by the end of March, the Senate will come out with a Veterans Accountability Bill. We will address caregivers pre-9/11. We'll address accountability for women in terms of veterans health care. We'll deal with veterans homelessness in a way that will be meaningful to try and reduce it. We're going to do everything we can to reduce the backlog in claims and appeals, see to it they're adjudicated justly, but that we don't have people waiting years and years and years and years to get an answer. In many cases, a very few veterans filing continuous appeals or continuous additional information clogs the system for everybody. We've got to find a way to make the system accountable and make it work. I've committed myself in my first 2 years as in the majority party in the Senate, as chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, to do everything I can to address the concerns you've expressed year in and year out. It's my 11th year on the committee. We should not have problems that 11 years ago were a problem and are still a problem today. With Chairman Miller and Ranking Member Brown in the House, we have what's called a perfect storm. With Chairman Miller and Ranking Member Brown in the House, with Ranking Member Blumenthal from Connecticut and myself in the Senate, with Bob Donald doing the great job he's doing as Secretary, and with the will of the Veterans Service Organizations to join together with us to be a lobby of one. It's not anything we cannot do, and this is the year to do it. And the time to do it before June the 30th this year. I think everybody on this dais realizes that the presidential election is going to take over pretty soon. Congress is going to be in a situation we won't be here very much. I want to make sure that June 30th, when we go home for the July 4th holiday and march in the parades in the cities and towns and hamlets of America, that we march with the disabled American veterans, the veterans of foreign wars, the American Legion, paralyzed veterans, and everyone else, talking about the reform we brought to the VA to bring about accountability, benefits, and a better service to the veterans of the United States of America. That is my commitment. I look forward to seeing you on July 4th and making that a reality for all Americans.
Thank you, Mr. Isaacson. I recognize Mr. Takano for his opening comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Commander McIntosh. Thank you for your service to our country in both our Army and Air Force. And I also thank you for your continued service to the 1.8 million members of the disabled American veterans. And now I'd like to recognize those of you in the crowd today from the great state of California. As you know, as you have pointed out in your testimony, today's disabled veterans still face challenges despite the progress that has been made in recent years. I share your concerns about improving accountability and further reducing the backlog of the VA, while making sure that the VA has the appropriate resources to meet its mission. When evaluating proposals for reform, I too believe we must retain the VA's central role as a healthcare provider and use the expertise of the VA, the VA has to continue to provide high-quality veteran-centric care. Commander McIntosh, the DAV has been an asset to this country for almost a century, and this committee also values your ground truth perspective on the issues facing disabled veterans and their caregivers as they apply for the just, speedy, and quality health care this nation promises. The input of the DAV will be valuable in helping us to meet these many challenges. I also share your concerns about our fastest growing veteran group, women veterans, and about the improved suicide prevention measures for them and all veterans. I'm especially interested in your thoughts on these matters. I look for your testimony today, and again, I thank you and the members of DAV for your work helping those that have defended this country and returned disabled to recover and regain purpose in our lives. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.